KMU TV 20, I'm Robert Tucker.
And I'm Skylar Boone.
Joining us today, we have artist and actor and multimedia journalist, Shannon and Rachel O'Neal for the big Homecoming 365 Impact Tour presented by Wells Fargo. How are you all doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. We're glad to hear that. How is it being on the campus of Florida A&M University? Come on now.
You feel the spirit, man, as soon as you step on campus. It's beautiful.
It's my first time ever being here, really in Tallahassee and on the Hill. That's what on the Hill that we're calling it, and I'm honored to be here. I already feel so much like character and history like flowing.
Well, I'm glad y'all in the state of Florida, but both of you all are not from here. I know you're from North Carolina and you're from Washington. Mm-hmm. Now, I know both of you all live in LA. How has that journey and transition been for the both of you all within y'all careers?
That's a loaded question, I feel like. Man, I'm from Washington. I was a news reporter in New Orleans and Dallas, so kind of all over. Right before that, I was in Atlanta. My jump to LA is fresh. I've only been here for 2 weeks. But I wanted to get a little bit more serious about acting, and so that inspired my move. So far, I love LA, but it has its challenges. I mean, he's been there much longer than I have, so being focused and grounded and really making sure you don't fall off of what your morals are and your dreams are is very important. I'm learning quickly.
Yeah. I mean, she said everything there is to say. I've been in LA for about seven or 8 years now, and you know, I think the biggest lesson that you learn as the years go by, putting yourself into something like that is really choosing to be who you are, who you choose to be, you know what I mean? And standing on your morals, like she said, and, you know, just doing what you're called to do, as opposed to doing what everybody else seems like they're doing or what everybody else tells you should be doing, you know what I mean? But it's a beautiful place, you know what I mean? Coming from somewhere like North Carolina and then going to somewhere like Los Angeles where you hear so many stories and you see so many things, you don't know what there is, but that city is one of those places that will never fail to surprise you.
So you talked about doing what you're called to do a little bit. So I have a question for both of you, and it's, what do you think makes you stand out amongst all the people out there in the industry trying to be successful?
That's a good question. I mean, for me personally, I am an avid believer in God, you know, and I think that that's something that will always be at the forefront of my personality. And you know, in a place like Los Angeles, you don't find that a lot, or you find people who say it but don't do it, and so I don't think that makes me stand out in a way of like, oh, I'm so different. But I do think that it goes right hand in hand with what we were saying about the morals. Like, you have to, you know, in a place like Los Angeles where it doesn't matter really what you believe, you know, for a lot of people, having God on your side and believing in that he put you there for a reason, it's a world of a difference.
I feel like I dare to be weird and awkward and off in public, and I feel like I do things that a lot of people might privately do or privately think, and I stand on it, and I'm okay with what comes. I think a lot of the time people try to follow others' blueprints, and it's no longer original. I think that I am original. I think that's because I really stand on who I actually am.
I love to hear that. So, Reed, I know that you are an actor and an artist, you know, so how is it balancing this type of career path to the point where you'll be able to be successful in both of your endeavors?
Honestly, they're not separate from each other. I think that acting is a form of art, and the ability to feel free while creating is like a major blessing. You know, and so, you know, every day that I wake up, I try and make sure that I first am being as authentic as I can, and second, letting the world inspire me. You know what I mean? I want to be an inspiration to others, and so I have to be open to wherever the inspiration could come from. And I think that that's like really important when it comes to art in this world, because a lot of people look to art for inspiration. You know what I mean?
So I have a question for you, Rachel. So, you talked about being an MMJ and now transitioning, into entertainment and now segueing into acting. So could you talk about maybe for those who are young journalists or aspiring journalists that are maybe nervous about taking a news route?
Do it. Do it scared. Do it confident. Do it when you don't know. Say yes to all projects. I would say interning saved me being an MMJ. I learned so much before I actually had a responsibility on my shoulders. Being a news reporter is one of the most difficult jobs as a Black woman. And a lot of the times you're gonna go home and not agree with some of the stories told. And there's a lot of battles in that. But what I can say is speak up in the newsrooms. If you feel like there's stories that are being misconstrued, sometimes you are their only hope of that story being told correctly. So yeah, I would say just going back to what I said earlier, being true to yourself because you sometimes are the only hope. Yeah.
So my last question for you all, I know Reed, you have a couple of acting experiences when it comes to the Emmy Award-winning Netflix special and Amazon Prime, and I know you have a couple of projects that you're working on currently as well. Can y'all give us like a little bit of a glimpse about what you are working on and how has it impacted your careers and everyone around you?
Yeah, well for me, I was blessed enough to do a show with Amazon called The Wilds, and that was an experience in itself. I was in Australia for about 7 months filming that, which was very interesting to say the least as a young Black man. Just from being on set for 14 hours every day and not having a single other Black person on set. It really opens your eyes to the world that we live in, and especially in such a high position as an actor on set, a lead actor. And then, like you mentioned, the Emmy Award-winning show on Netflix, Arcane, which was a beautiful experience, and it continues to give me life. It won 4 Emmys for Best Animated Series, and it's nice because the company that made that show I've also been working with for the past few years on a video game that's finally releasing this summer. So we're gonna get started on a press run real soon, and I'm excited about that, and all of those experiences, to answer that question, is just giving me more of chances to be creative. I spend a lot of time making music and putting music out, and because I get to do things like Arcane or The Wilds or anything in TV film, I get a chance to be as creative as I want when it comes to the music and just live through it,
Okay. Rachel, you have anything you want to?
Man, I can't follow up after that. We're talking about an Emmy award-winning actor over here. Well, my videos are still going to be at the forefront. I really do love impacting others on social media. But as I mentioned earlier, I do have projects coming out, 2 movies with Boosie. I have a few other things I just can't mention right now. But yeah, the goal is for everyone to kind of see that transition unfold.
Okay, well, we're excited to see both of you working in the field and getting things together. So thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all for joining us. For FAMU TV 20, I'm Robert Tucker.
And I'm Skylar Boone.
For FAMU TV News 20, I'm Robert Tucker.
And I'm Skylar Boone.
Joining us today from the Big Homecoming 365 Impact Tour, we have HBCU strategist from Wells Fargo, Mr. Dewey Norwood. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Robert. So excited to be with you and with Skylar here on campus. Always a pleasure to be in Tallahassee, and you cannot come to Tallahassee without coming up the hill and being at FAMU.
So speaking of the hill, how is it visiting the campus of Florida A&M University today?
Yeah, so first of all, to all of the folks that are tuning in, thanks for your support of the great work that's happening here at the Journalism School. And we're really excited to be a part of the big homecoming, the 365 Impact Tour. Wells Fargo, just as background for you, has a long history of supporting HBCUs. In fact, in the last 12 years, our firm has provided over $34 million of financial support to support HBCUs. So that's programming, certainly scholarships, and then events like we're hosting here today. So for us, those are some of the things that are really, really important to us. Anytime you have a chance to to come to Tallahassee, you got to make sure you make a stop by FAM. That's got to be on your list.
Definitely. The highest of the 7 hills is one of the best places in Tallahassee.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So why do you think HBCUs are so important to Wells Fargo?
Yeah, so HBCUs, let's all remember, team, there was a time in our history where African Americans could not attend the colleges and the universities that were available. Real talk moment, right? So our HBCUs sprung up mid-1800s, later portion of the 1800s, and it's important to recognize that history, kind of A. Part B, we have so many amazing students that want to have a nurturing environment that's going to help them grow. You come in as a freshman, 4 years later, you move the tassel from one side to the other, and you go out into the big bowl world, right? HBCUs are able to provide those supports and the services that are needed. On top of getting a top-tier education, you get an amazing education here. The work that Dr. Robinson, President Robinson and the team are doing, that gives you an amazing experience. And so HBCUs were important then, and they're just as important here in 2023.
So I don't want to misspeak.
Please.
But you said that the Wells Fargo was able to contribute $34 million in the past 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how do you all specify from the amount of significant scholars that apply
Sure.
for these scholarships and the opportunities in order for them to succeed in their endeavors within life?
Yeah, listen, the scholarship game is a real one. We know this, and very, very competitive in given areas. And so we wish we could provide more, but we're really trying to find ways not to just give the scholarships, but also to give the wraparound services. So maybe, and we've got members of our team here today that travel with us for all of the big homecoming events. So we've got the recruiting team here. So we're having discussions around those types of topics for career pathways as an option that students can think about. We have a heavy emphasis on financial wealth and well-being. You know, raise your hands if you don't need money. I see hands going. I see hands going down all over the crowd. But we want to be able to have those kinds of conversations. Skylar, we want to talk about home ownership. We have partners there today that are sharing information to get students prepared on the path for home ownership. So the scholarships are important. The dollars that we're providing to support the great work that's happening here at FAMU, very, very important. But we want to bring all of the resources that we can to the table to be able to help students. Maybe there's a student athlete that's interested in an NIL deal for the name, image, likeness piece. We now can actually provide consulting services in those kinds of areas. And so I think those are some of the ways that we're trying to connect in today. And I've been in this role for just about a year. The end of this month will actually be a year for me. And so excited about what we'll be able to build in the days ahead. And there's, listen, 260,000 people that work for our firm. We want to make sure that we get all of those resources here at the disposal for FAMU.
I think that's very powerful. You know, in the African American community, a lot of times we aren't taught about financial literacy. And so I think that's really amazing that y'all are bringing it directly to the students on the campus and helping them get those resources that they need.
Well, thank you for that. And we've got an amazing team. We've got leaders that are committed to this work, but they also have the street cred, right? You know, they've got the hat, they own the t-shirt. They've been there. They've been doing it for a long, long time. And so if it's the principles of, hey, what are the things I need to do to start a nonprofit? I was talking with someone earlier today that's aspiring in those kinds of areas. What do I need to do relative to my credit? How does my personal credit some ways help me to get a job? Or maybe if I'm having some challenges in my credit, how can that prevent me from being able to have a career opportunity? How do I leverage the business credit in different kinds of areas? So we want to have all of those kinds of conversations with any of the students that we run into for wherever they are today, so that 5 years now, 10 years from now, after graduation, 20 years from now, they can go back and say, wow, I don't remember the name of that person that I spoke with at Wells Fargo, but they're the person that put me on this financial path to where I am today. And the information that I've received, I'm now willing to share that with others. I think that's the approach that we want to be able to have.
So you spoke about financial literacy,
Yeah.
The steps on what it's like to create a nonprofit and home ownership.
Sure.
Now, a lot of students are not necessarily able to receive these type of opportunities on a regular day basis. So how will you feel like Wells Fargo, with the partnership and sponsorship that's been given,
Sure.
will be able to actually give this platform for us to actually receive it more abundantly?
Yeah, so Robert, it's a great question, and we've got some great resources that we have available. So for all of our viewers, I would encourage everyone, and maybe you'll see this on the lower third with the broadcast, but you can include information about our hands-on banking platform. So handsonbanking.org. This is a free resource that anyone can access.
You said free.
Okay.
You know.
We love free.
Listen, Cat Williams, how did he put it? Free 99?
Yeah.
Free 99 is
That's
what
me.
we like. So shout out to Cat, wherever he's working on these days. But so hands-on banking, great resource that's available there. We also host each month a series called Wells Fargo Beyond College. This series is now in its 9th year. And in each of those 90-minute broadcasts, we talk to students about a particular principle. So maybe we're covering resume writing. Maybe we're covering interview skills. Or Robert, to get to your question, maybe we're talking about credit and the things that students need to be thinking about there. Maybe we're talking about small business. So we try to spoon feed them. We do all of these live, and then we throw them on YouTube so students have access in those kinds of areas. And the smartest students, Skylar, you'll appreciate this. After they watch that broadcast and they see our amazing team, they follow up with the folks and say, yo, I just saw you on the Wells Fargo Beyond College webinar series. I'd love to have a broader kind of a conversation. So that's a piece of encouragement that I would give to the students. Make sure that you're leveraging resources. If you meet a banker, follow them on LinkedIn, make those connections in the ways that you can. If you can get a cell phone number, get that. Don't text them. They're not good at texting all the time, bankers, but you can reach out to them if you want. As a note, I'm just kidding. But find a way to follow up that helps you build the credit, that helps you get the resources, helps to level the playing field. Robert, I think that's our hope with this, because when we're empowered with information, we then know the directions that we need to be able to head in. So we're excited to do that. So Beyond College Webinar Series, you can do a Google search for that. It'll take you right to the page and you can check it out.
That's
So-
definitely awesome. So I have a question for you. You know,
Please.
we're talking about financial literacy, but this is a little bit more personal.
Go for it.
So what would you say is the best book for students or young adults to start reading to get involved with better understanding their financial situation?
It's a good question. There's a lot of good books out there that are available for you. But I won't talk about a specific book, but I will talk about the thing that I encourage students to do, and it's pay yourself first. I'm looking directly in camera. Pay yourself first. You are the most important commodity that exists on the planet. Pay yourself first. I think that's a model that we really encourage students to apply. And again, whether that's investing $10 a week or $10,000 a year, or eventually $100,000, we want you to start focusing on paying yourself first. By doing that, you're going to be able to build the savings that you need to get that down payment for a home, to set aside the dollars that you may need to be able to start your small business or to start a nonprofit. So I would say focus on paying yourself first. From a resources perspective, there's a lot of them that are out there. There's one that I especially like that I hear our partners talk about all the time, and it's called Investopedia. So you guys may be familiar with some of the other sites that are out there. Investopedia actually gives you a lot of great resources, and then from there you can say, okay, well, I heard this term on CNBC, or I heard this mentioned in the earnings call that Wells Fargo was hosting. I wasn't sure exactly what that was. And it gives you a chance to go in there and kind of digest some of the pieces that are in there. So won't give any special book plugs, especially since it would have been better if I had brought a book with me and then we could have hit, yeah, you need to read this. But there's a lot of great resources that are out there. But here, also realize this, and I'll end on this point. You start where you start. You're not going to know everything from day one. Build a little bit here, learn a little bit there, ask questions, get information, and then make sure that you're finding a way to kind of pay it forward and share it with others. So,
Mr. Dewey, Norwood, the man with a plan. Thank you for stopping by and sharing what you feel like we can be impacted by, along with every student at HBCUs. It was really appreciated today.
Robert, happy to be here. Skylar, thank you all so much. Congratulations on all the great work that you all are doing an amazing job. And obviously, I'm underdressed here, and I was joking with them before. They're totally dressed, but at least I got the memo right to wear orange. That's an important piece. So,
have they taught you how to strike yet?
I do know how to, because listen, here at FAM, we do everything 3 times.
Yes.
We strike.
Yes.
We strike. And we strike again. It's 3 times. It's how we do it on this side. So thank you so much. The Wells Fargo team is here. Happy to have our ATMs on campus. We've got great resources to provide. If you have financial questions around any of the resources that we're providing, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll be happy to help. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you. Thank
You
you
got
so
it.
much. For FAMU TV 20, I'm Robert Tucker.
And I'm Skylar Boone.
Joining us today is A&R executive, FAMU alum, and 8-time Grammy Award winner, Mr. Amir Windom.
Hello,
How you doing today?
hello, my superstars.
Yes, sir. How you doing today, though, man?
Man, I'm feeling good, baby. I'm at home. I got on deodorant because it's hot outside. I'm blessed. I'm good. I'm good with y'all talented folk. How y'all feeling?
I feel pretty good, man.
We're honored to be with you here, back on the hill today. It's Set Friday.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been here in probably 5 years, and I ain't been to the set in probably 8, 9, 10 years. So excuse me if I look like a student today.
Man, you good. Just tell me how it is being back on campus, feeling that love at the
Man,
college and the
yeah,
chair.
you said exactly that. It's love. It's like FAMU was like my first girlfriend or something, I just when I come here, man, it's really the definition of nostalgia. You come here and you just remember all these moments in your life that shaped who you are today. Even if it was a moment with the professor, meeting your best friends, having your first girlfriend, having your fried chicken on Fridays. It's just all these things that you realize a lot of your memories are based here. Because when I think of fried chicken, I think of FAMU.
Wow.
So anytime I'm eating fried chicken, I'll be taken by like, FAMU. So yeah, it's good to be back though.
It's good to hear. So just talk to me about your journey. I know you won your first Grammy before you was even a graduate.
Yeah, man.
The School of Journalism and Graphic Communication. So what advice do you just give young collegiate individuals who are trying to come within your industry and just learning how to navigate within the cutthroat business?
Man, first of all, get you some real good running shoes, because it's gonna be a marathon, not a sprint. To be great is a very tough process. It's a long process. It's never ending. If you wanted to give up today and be a homeless person, your job gets pretty simple. It's just maybe try to get some money, get a sign, to see what you can get. You don't have to go to school for that. You don't have to take classes. You don't have to go sit in the dean's office and beg for money or whatever. It's very simple. But just think about the process that it's taken for you to get to this point. You had to go to elementary school. You had to learn how to count. You had to learn how to put your clothes on. You had to learn to put your shoes on the right foot. It's just so many processes, right? And then you start talking about education. You had to learn math, you had to learn science, you had to learn this. Just like now you guys are journalism students. You had to learn how to work these cameras, you had to learn how to have posture. So many different things you've learned. And it doesn't change, once you get out of school. It's a continual learning process. And so the struggle is one of the most beautiful parts of it though, because this is what gives you the strength and the character to continue. Because if you think about all the things that you've accomplished now, right? Like all the temper tantrums you may have had as a 5-year-old, right? Or when you were 15 or 18, you got your heart broken, right? You survived it, and a lot of things that you've learned in life, it doesn't change as you become an alum, and as you get into your industries. So, like I said, prepare for the marathon, and no success is obtained without struggle. And again, of course, none of us like to struggle, but it's a part of life. It's inevitable. And I think sometimes it's important to tell you guys and your fellow students that you're gonna struggle. And if you want to become great, you need to prepare for that so that you can survive the struggle once these challenges come. And that's how I got to where I am. As a student, I was working a full-time job at Atlantic Records and still in class for 21 hours. So I was taking 21 hours Monday through Wednesday, flying to LA, New York, wherever I had to go for work Thursday through Sunday. And I did that for 2 years straight. And I got used to struggling, right? It was hard, but the reward, always paid off, because it may not always look like success that you end up getting, but one of the things that I always think about that I gained from it was just I met a lot of great people, and I learned the art of treating people well, right? That's how I've gotten to where I'm at. People always ask me, how'd you get to where you are? And I'm just like, to be honest, I don't know, besides working hard, but I know one thing that's been consistent that I've always been able to lean on, just being a good person. Very simple, being a good person. There's a lot of creative people in the world, but if you're a good person, people are gonna look out for you. They're gonna think of you when there's opportunities, or even if they done cook some dinner, they're gonna think of you. I think that's been my one secret sauce, is that no matter whether I'm talking to the janitor or talking to the CEO, I treat them the same.
Well, Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. You know, you really gave us some gems. We've talked offset, we've talked now here, and thank you just again for being here and joining us and giving the Rattlers just some real gems today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and y'all keep striking and striking.
Yes.
know it. So thank you for stopping by the Big Homecoming 365 Impact Tour with the one and only Mr. Amir Windom.
Thank you.
Appreciate
man.
you. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.